Today I'm going to show you how to make my buttermilk biscuits. This is the recipe in my cookbook from scratch. Screenshot it there. Alright, so I have 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour already in my bowl. And to that, I'm going to add my cake flour. Cake flour has a little bit of leavener in it and has been sifted. So we need 2/3 of a cup of the cake flour. I use King Arthur cake flour. And then we're going to add the rest of our ingredients. A teaspoon of salt. I use pink Himalayan salt. A tablespoon of sugar. A tablespoon of baking powder, which is going to give you the nice fluffy biscuits we all want to have. And so I'm going to evenly stir up that salt, sugar, baking powder into the flours. And then, if you have a pastry blender, it makes this job easier, but you can use a fork. A whole stick of cold butter. It's important that it's cold, and you can cut it up into little chunks throughout the dough. If it was warm, it would just smear and make your dough really sticky. So I do have my oven preheating at 425. So I cut this in until you want a little bit bigger than pea-sized crumbles. What happens is every chunk of butter in the biscuit will cause it to steam in the oven. That butter turns into steam and it opens up like little pockets or those flaky, nice little layers in your biscuits, and that's what we want. So you see, these chunks are perfect. They're a little larger than peas, maybe M&M size. Maybe that's a good reference there. And then we're just gonna add 1 cup of buttermilk. Nice and thick and tangy. This is the best buttermilk biscuit recipe in the universe. I'm telling ya. All right. So you're just going to stir this in. Yes, you can over stir it, but as long as you just bring it together into your dough, you don't have to worry about that. You would have to work hard to really over stir these. All right, so we see our dough is really coming together. So now, God gave you hands for a reason. The reason he gave you hands was to make biscuits. So, you're just going to squeeze the dough together until it forms a nice solid ball. And then we are going to dump this out onto our cutting board once I get it off my fingers. I'm going to press it into my dough ball. And then I am going to put this on my counter. So, / cutting board. This seems a little dry to me, so I am going to just add 1 more drop of buttermilk to it. It's always best to add less than it is to need more, because you don't want your biscuits to be too wet or they'll spread out in the oven and they won't hold their shape. This is perfect. Okay. I love, look, you can see the chunks of butter. The more you work with it, the more you're going to melt that butter. And we definitely don't want to do that. So I'm going to toss little flour here on my board. And yes, making biscuits is messy. And yes, it's okay. So, I try to make a rectangle / oval, okay? And this is very important. You're going to fold once, 1/3 of the dough over, and the other 1/3 of the dough over. And then that is going to create even more layers. Okay. I love that you can see the butter in the dough. Butter is delicious. Okay, I think you can see that this is like 1.5 inches thick. So let me get my biscuit cutter. This is a 2.5 inch biscuit cutter, okay? So we're just gonna go down, come back up. We're not gonna turn the biscuit cutter. If you turn it, you're gonna be sealing up all these pockets, these edges, okay? That's what you want to see. That is perfect. Literal perfection when it comes to biscuits. Amazing. You can do this at home. If I can do this and make the most amazing biscuits, you can make the most amazing biscuits too. I promise you it's not as hard as people think it is, but you do need a good recipe. The number one reason why biscuits fail for people is the recipe is not a good recipe. So, this one, you know, is tested. And it's okay that the bottom looks like that. It'll bake up just fine. You just want to keep piecing together. And this is how I like to do it, because I'm so used to making them. But you're always going to have this wonderful little piece left over at the end, okay? My kids love the little mini biscuit, okay? Just make sure it's sort of the same thickness as the other ones. And put that on your tray. And I am baking on stone. This is a Pampered Chef pan, the stone bar pan. I love it for my biscuits. So we're gonna bake these at 425 degrees. Yes, it does need to be that hot. You are going to bake them for about 15 minutes. When the tops are golden brown, you know that they are ready. So this recipe has made 7.5 biscuits. I'll show you the final product. Our biscuits are done. Look at these beauties, golden on the top, lightly golden on the bottom. Look at all those layers. Whew! Hot. Oh my gosh, so delicious. All you need is some sausage gravy, guys. Or some butter and honey. Enjoy!